Hi guys, and welcome to 2019. Over the Christmas period I've been looking over my 2018 videos, and specifically in the comments I've been kind of skimming over them, and I've noticed a common comment coming up on the negative side, shall we say, of EV ownership from people who for some reason hate electric vehicles. Now this comment was kind of along the theme of how long it takes to charge your EV compared to how long it takes to fuel your car. So what if I told you that I actually waste less time fueling my electric car than you do fueling your petrol car? Now, no doubt I'll need to quantify what I've just said, and I will try and back that up. There will be caveats. I will come to them in the video, so please watch the video before you comment. It does help. Now, according to the analytics, most of these comments, I would say over 2/3 of this particular type of comment, and there were a lot in 2018, came from the American side of the pond. I'm not sure why. I'm getting a lot more American viewers now, so hello if you are watching from America. But there does seem to be a more of an anti-EV culture in America compared to the UK and Europe. If you're from America and you're watching this now, would you agree with that statement? Is it more anti-EV in America at the moment than it is in UK, Europe? Now don't get me wrong, there's a big pro-EV movement, Tesla for example, in America, but there does seem to be a lot of resistance to the electric vehicle over there. Now, onto this comment I mentioned in the intro about how long it takes to fuel your car. It usually went along the lines like this. I could get 500 miles of range from my vehicle when I visit a gas station. You can't do that in an electric car. I apologise profusely to any Americans watching this. I promise I won't do that again. So, onto the point of this. I said in the intro that I waste less time fueling my EV than you do fueling your petrol car. So how does that work? Well, let's look at petrol and how long it takes. The average apparently is about 7 minutes that people spend at a petrol station. That must include, of course, diverting to the petrol station from wherever you're going and then filling up, paying and getting back to your original journey. So I would say about 7 minutes is perfectly reasonable as an assumption on how long it takes to visit. It also appears that people visit a petrol station on average once a week. So we can assume that you spend or waste 7 minutes a week fueling your car. Now let's look at a typical electric vehicle owner. And this is where the caveats will come in, and I'll get to them in a bit. But I do not spend 7 minutes a week fueling my electric vehicle, or charging it in this case. This clip I'm about to show you from one of my previous videos is a typical day in the life of an EV. This is what I have to do to charge my car. I suppose might as well include this arduous task of plugging the car in. Look, I have to lift this flap up here, grab this, and then plug the car in. Ooh, that takes a lot of my time. Now that whole thing, if you're not filming it, takes about 10 seconds. And of course you have to do it in reverse when you set off later on. So we're looking at about 30 seconds per day that I waste on charging my car. Now let's assume that I charge every single day, which I don't, and most EV owners probably do maybe 3 times a week at most. Even if we assume 7 days a week, I have to charge my car at 30 seconds at a time. That's what, 3.5 minutes out of every week I waste fueling my car, because unlike a petrol diesel car, I do not have to stand there whilst it's getting its fuel. Go to a petrol station and yes, it may only take 10 minutes, but you're stood next to that car the whole 10 minutes twiddling your thumbs whilst you're waiting for it to finish, and then of course paying and whatnot. With the EV, I plug it in and leave it. I'm either eating, watching TV, sleeping, maybe having sex. In fact, no, actually, I'm married, that doesn't happen anymore. But you get my point. I could be doing anything I like whilst that car is charging. And this is the whole thing that people don't seem to grasp the concept of when they look from the outside at electric vehicles. They see a headline of it takes 4 hours or 8 hours, depending on your car, to charge up. But it's charging when it's sat on the drive. It's charging overnight when you're asleep. In time taken out of your life, it's minuscule, because all you have to do is plug it in and walk away. You don't look at a mobile phone and think, well, that's going to take me 2 or 3 hours to charge that one. You just plug it in at night and forget about it. That is the whole point about an EV. Yes, it takes longer, much longer to fuel than a normal one, but you don't have to stand there whilst it's doing it. Now, of course, people will be writing in the comments as we speak and screaming at the screen saying, what if you can't charge at home? And you're absolutely right. I will never recommend, in the UK at least, anyone who doesn't have off-road parking, who cannot charge at home, to get an EV right now. Unless you live in a few choice places in the UK, the infrastructure simply isn't ready to support an electric vehicle for someone who can't charge at home. Now, of course, this will change. When you can do 300, 400, 500, 600 miles on an average cheap EV and charging speeds 5 times faster than they are now, will basically be at the same type of model you have now at a petrol station. You visit somewhere, 15 minutes later, you've got a full charge or tank as it were, and you get on with your life. But we're not at that stage yet, so EVs aren't suitable for everyone. I have said that for the past 3-4 years since I started this channel up. But that's not what this video is about. It's about changing the misconception on how long it takes to fuel an EV. And given the amount of comments I got from people, they are either unaware or ignorant of the fact that they think someone sits there for 4 or 8 hours waiting for it to charge. It's not like that, because it's just sat in the drive right now. You're watching this, your car is probably sat on the drive right now. Why not have it fueling itself whilst it's doing this? Now, of course, it's not as simple as that. What if you're doing a long journey, of course, I hear you say. Yes, this is where, at the moment at least, petrol or diesel wins out over an EV. Let's take a typical example I use. When I go to my parents down south, which is about 270 miles each way, I have to charge twice when going there. So that means that I spend, I would say, about an hour, maybe just over an hour, charging and stopping en route. Now, if I decide to take our other car, which is a petrol car, I don't have to do that. But when you're doing what typically takes 5 to 7 hours, depending on traffic and roadworks and all that, I am going to stop at least once anyway, especially because 95% of the time I have my daughter in the car. There is no way I am doing a 6-7 hour journey without stopping at least once. And that's what you have to kind of look at EVs as. If you do 6-7 hours journeys and never stop, yes, you're wasting an hour you didn't before. But if, like most people on the planet, you're going to stop on a 200-300 mile journey with kids in the car, you'd be stopping anyway. So look at how much time you are wasting compared to normal, rather than how long it takes the car on paper to charge. So yes, I lose probably 45 minutes compared to taking the petrol car by taking my Leaf on this long journey. But remember, my Leaf can only do just over 100 miles on average. Nearly every car coming out over the next year, let alone the next 5 years, it seems to be doing 200 mile plus. The Hyundai Kona can do nearly 300 miles if you want it to. That means I could get to my mum and dad's without having to stop at all. It's changing, and this is in a very short period of time. So if you're looking at an EV and you just see it takes 8 hours to charge, that isn't the case. It's how much time it takes out of your life. As I said before, if you don't have off-road parking, it's not suitable for you yet, is an EV, unless of course you can charge at work, you've got loads of chargers nearby. There are people that can do this. There are places in the UK at least where you can survive with little inconvenience without being able to charge at home. But for the most part, I don't recommend anybody who can't charge at home to get an EV right now. So to summarise, at home, if you can charge at home, and at the moment over 60% of UK households have off-road parking, if you can charge at home, you will actually save time by getting an EV over a petrol car, unless you do a ton of journeys. The typical comment I get is that, well, I go down on holiday to Cornwall quite often. That's going to take me ages. You're right, for those 2 or 3 journeys a year, you will benefit with a petrol car on a pure time basis. But for the other 49 weeks of the year, you will benefit on the EV side of things. It may weigh itself up to the point where it breaks even. Who knows? Everybody is different. But just think about it the next time you comment, because it doesn't take hours and hours to charge. Now, one thing that I will mention in this, because life is about compromises. Yes, on a long journey, I waste more time than if I take our other car. But there is a cost saving, a big one. I charge my car at home for 95% of the miles I do, and because I do it at night when it is cheap on my tariff, it costs me £135 for 10,000 miles of electric charge. 10,000 miles for £135. How much would that cost in a petrol car, do you think? Let's have a look. 10,000 miles, let's assume 50 miles per gallon over that 10,000 miles. Let's put the current price of petrol, which is about £1.20 odd, £1.30 in the UK. Ridiculous, basically. Ooh, nearly £1,200 it costs in fuel to do 10,000 miles. And it costs an EV owner like myself £135. There's the compromise. Time versus money. Now, typically at this point, people say the electric car costs more than the petrol one. And in a direct comparison, an e-Golf versus a standard Golf, you're probably right, it does cost more. But if you do enough miles, it eventually breaks even and then even surpasses it. And there are much cheaper options out there that people seem to ignore. The comment of they cost 30 grand upwards to EVs is simply not true. You can get a non-battery leased Renault Zoe, for example, that does 140 to 180 miles in the real world for about £17,000, maybe a bit less if you know how to play the game. And then of course there's the used market. You can get Renault Zoes that are about 3 years old with a battery lease for about £6,000. Yes, you're paying 60 quid a month, but you're getting a 3-year-old car that costs you pennies to run for 6 grand. Anyway, that's for another video. What do you think of what I've said here? Do you think I am correct in that I waste less time than you do on a petrol car? Do you think I'm a lunatic? Do you think it's something, well, I've not really thought about before? And actually, when I think about it, you're right. I don't know. Everybody on YouTube has an opinion, me included. That's why it's so much fun. Once again, I apologise to the American audience for the appalling accent I did earlier, but I couldn't help myself. Please subscribe if you enjoy this sort of crap, and click like on the video because, I don't know, YouTube likes it or something to that effect. So once again, have a great new year. I'll put links to videos up here in the corner of the videos. I will see you soon. Thank you for watching, and bye.